feel free to when he start presenting, feel free to, we'll have question sessions, so feel free to bring in your questions. And as an icebreaker for our speaker, we have three questions before he starts his presentation. The first question I have for our speaker is that what are the most common pitfalls early researchers face when submitting their first paper, and how do we avoid that?
Oh, you didn't tell me I'm going through all this.
It's just an
Oh,
icebreaker for, for
yeah,
us to get used to your
I understand.
presentation.
I
Yeah.
understand. So this is just like the coming of the Lord, unpredictable, So you should always be ready. I understand. So I guess the question again is the most common pitfalls.
Yeah,
Early,
like early researchers face when they are submitting their first paper, and how do you avoid that?
I think one of the pitfalls is choosing the wrong journal. Okay. So when you submit to a journal whose scope or audience is a little, the threshold is a little away from what you are submitting, it's one way that can be a disadvantage to you, the new researcher.
Mhm.
So the first thing you need to do is when you're looking for a journal, you need to know the aims and the scope of that particular journal, and that will guide you to know whether your submission fits into the aims and scope before you submit there. The fact that the journal has a name, let's say you are submitting something under food and safety, and you see a journal that says food something, then you think it's enough to go and submit your paper there. It is actually not enough. You need to know
Mhm.
the aims and scope of that particular journal,
Mhm.
and then that will guide you to know whether submitting that will be okay. Another thing is you look for the very recent publications for that journal.
Mhm.
So almost every single day, journals have submissions. They receive submissions and publish them. So the very recent ones, go look at the samples of papers that have been published and see if there's anything that goes in line with yours.
Mhm.
In that case, you are attempting to submit to a journal that has similar um, objectives like what you're about to submit. Another pitfall I would talk about is inadequate literature review. Some people don't spend time writing about what is trending, like what is the issue at the moment. They don't spend so much time reviewing what is out there. Once they are interested in publishing, they just get few information and they're ready to submit. So as a new or early researcher, you need to take time and get a lot of reviews before you can actually think of submitting your work. Also, one thing I noticed is methodological weaknesses where people use smaller sample sizes for their work. So the more the number, the better the results, and then you're able to explain better and make inferences from the outcome. But if you go for a smaller number or you go for an unclear methods, then obviously when you submit to a journal that is very critical, you may lose. They may deny your submission. Also, when we have small data, sometimes we overinterpret the data. And when you do that, it's also a pitfall. It's also a caution to early researchers. In that case, you can also be uh, denied submission. Um, and you see, every journal has a manuscript structure that they require. And so it is fundamental for every author to go and look at the submission requirement and submit the paper accordingly or submit the manuscript accordingly. Now, if you don't get to submit based on the criteria requested by the journal, then it is also a pitfall that you have to check because at the end of the day, the journal can just decide to just say no to you because you didn't follow their simple format that they give. So I think I don't know if I've mentioned enough, but these are some of the most common
Yeah.
pitfalls that early researchers go through.
Yeah, that was really good. So the follow-up question is, I think you mentioned that it's very important to um get to know if your paper is right for that journal. So how do you know that this journal it fits my paper, it fits what I've written, and that if I submit, maybe it will not be rejected or something. Yeah. How do you,
Again,
yeah.
so I mentioned one of the things to look for is the aims and the scope.
Hmm.
early researchers are interested. They most of them are um most of them are lied to. Okay, people think that when you want to submit a journal, your first journal should have a high impact, should be a high impact journal, and so they rush and submit their papers to even journals that do not match with their aims and scope. And so one of the first things you look for as a first time submitter is that the journal should match the aims and scope of the journal should match with the um with your with you the submitter, and
Yeah.
then also be strategic. So the people who are going to read your work should be people of a specific class. Now, immediately you go out of that class, your paper will not be recognized. In that case, even if it's published by that journal, you don't get citation because people are always looking for publications in specific locations where they can find their objectives met. So if you go submitting your paper anywhere, it will be there. You'll see it's online, but you are not getting citations because you have submitted in the wrong journal and the audience accessing your paper are not the right people. So that's another thing.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I have one last question before you begin. So how do you balance that pressure as a graduate student, first timer? How do you balance that pressure to like publish quickly with maintaining quality and integrity of your research?
So how do you balance the pressure to publish quickly
Because
with,
when you're first time, you want to publish. Everyone
yeah,
is, I need to publish. Yeah. How do you balance that pressure with, I mean, not trying to falsify your data or something? Yeah.
yeah. So you see, there's something all of us need to know. A fast publication that later needs correction or retraction is a long-term loss. Okay, the fact that you want to publish early and you don't take time to get things in the right order, you're already losing. So first, you need to redefine what publishing quickly is. Okay, so it's either you equate speed with cutting corners. So the best advice I can give is reduce avoidable delays. The best advice I can give is reduce avoidable delays, but just make sure that everything you are submitting has all the details that is required to make the paper a good one. The fact that you want the paper published early does not mean you should not take time to critically go through the journal and know the aims and objectives, know the manuscript guidelines requirements, know the current trends of that particular journal. You need to take time and know all this and have those reflected in your paper before you can actually go ahead and submit. So, I mean, when you're an early submitter, the enthusiasm comes, but take it easy. Once the first one goes out and it is perfect, not necessarily perfect, and it is excellent, the rest comes without so much effort. Yeah, so take all the energy to give the first one a big shot, and then the rest will follow.
Mm. Yeah, thank you so much for the answers. You have the floor now.
Okay. How many minutes do I have?
So you have 30 minutes. Then we leave 5 minutes for questions.
Okay. All right. So let's see. But can you see my screen? Is it showing?
Yes.
Let me see if I can give full screen. Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be looking at how to publish your first research paper. So, this is a research paper. There's a difference between research paper and review paper. So, the focus is on research paper. I'll talk about the difference once we move on. What is research publishing? So, when you're even sharing your research with somebody else, it's research publishing. Again, when you publish your work in any academic journal, it's also considered as a research publishing. Now, when you contribute to any scientific knowledge by sharing your data with a group of people, even going to conference to even share your work, it's also a type of research publishing. The big question is, why do we publish? Why do we have to spend so much time getting our works published? So one of the first reason is it gives easy admission into grad school and possible funding chances. So imagine coming from Ghana and you have a publication. The chances that a school in the US will admit you into grad school is very high because you already have a published work. And don't forget, most schools, when they're looking for students,
Yeah, sorry for
the
them.
slides are not changing.
Yeah, they are not changing.
How about now? Still?
No, they're
Oh,
not.
yeah. Okay, let me reshare it again and see. Let me just give me 1 second. Let me bring it here. How about now?
Uh,
Still?
we can see slide two.
Slide two. Let me see. Sorry. Oh. Stop sharing. Let me use the whole screen one and then um, we can. So I'll just move this here. Okay. I believe it's okay now, right?
Yeah, we
What do you
can
think?
see we can still see slide two.
Slide two. Okay,
Yes,
so
presenters more. Yeah. Okay.
let me change. How about now?
Yes,
Is it
perfect.
moving now?
This is better.
Okay. So I was talking about why the reason why we publish, and I'm saying that's for easy admission into grad school and possible funding chances. That's one reason why publishing is very crucial. Um, another reason is another reason why we publish is that you can access research-related jobs such as graduate research assistant roles and postdocs or jobs in research institutes just because you have a publication. Another reason is that it helps you to establish exceptional ability for permanent residency in the US. And the fourth reason, which I always admire adding, is the fact that you see yourself to be self-fulfilled when you have a publication. Imagine going to Google Scholar and you type your name and stuff about you show up. You feel very excited that you're also recognized as a scholar globally. So these are reasons, if for no reason at all, one of these reasons should be reason why you want to publish. So now let's look at the different types of publication. So we have, when you go to Facebook, people publish stuffs on entertainment, news, reviews, etc. But for specific academic publications, we have these listed um, names. We have research article, we have review article, we have conference publication, we do have book publication and posters. I'll take time to talk about the number one and two. Let me show you what the number three and five is in there. So this is a typical example of a poster. When you have a one-page document that comprises everything about you that you want to talk about, captured on one page, it becomes a poster. So this is a typical example of a poster which has the methods, have the result, has the discussion and everything. Conference papers, mostly for conference publication, you first of all submit something we call the abstract for the conference. Once the abstract is accepted, they give you the chance to come to the conference and present your work. So you present a detailed um, info of your work on a poster. Once the poster is accepted, they can ask you to write an extended version of your abstract, or even before the conference, they can require you to submit an extended version of your abstract. What it means is that the abstract you have submitted, expand it, showing the introduction, methodology, results, and conclusion. So this page you are seeing has like an abstract, has an introduction, has an experimental. So sometimes you can be asked to submit a 4 to 5 pages document that has to do that you can submit for your conference publication. So there's a little difference between the conference publication and the other publication, which is the research and the review publication. Conference publication doesn't, there's not really a lot of papers, maybe maximum 5 pages, sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 pages required. But for review and research papers, you write an extended, more extended, more extended version of your work for publication. And so let me go back to the research article and review. So you see, people have published their works. When you go for others' work, people's work, which is centered around the same topic or title area, and you dig information from each of these already published works, and you put them together, because you are reviewing works done by other people and you put them together. That is a typical example of a review paper. So everybody can write a review paper. You don't have to be a student. You don't have to be a professor to write a review paper. So I can pick a topic. I can talk about biomaterials. I'll go online, look for people who have done work on biomaterials, pick about 10 publications, get some gaps from all the published works from under biomaterials, put them together, have the language, have the words in my own language or version, and then it becomes my paper. And that type of work is considered a review article. But for research article, you already know the gap. You take time to investigate the gap by either going to the lab to do your own research, either mixing chemicals to see the effect, or you go electrospanning fibers, or you go asking people surveys, getting response and putting them together. So for research article, it demands an intentional research from you, the author, where that research will bring you data, you get data, analyze the data, and then make inference or make um, suggestions from the data, and then eventually come up with a conclusion for the masses. So there's a difference between research article and review. So research, you take time to investigate the whole process, the method, and then whatever result you get, and then you put it out there, and then that becomes your research article. So for conference publication, for book publication, when you have a, a specific work that has different chapters. So let's say I'm talking about biomaterials. The first part I talk about the types of biomaterials as chapter one. Then I go to chapter two, I talk about maybe ceramics. Then I go to chapter three, I talk about metals. Chapter four, I talk about um, polymers. Once I have different chapters, when I put all these chapters together, I have a book. So that's the difference between a research article is just one publication. A book is made up of different chapters in one space. Okay, so these are the different types of academic publication. So the focus today, because I have already talked about how to write a review paper. So today the focus is going to be on research article. So how to publish your first research article. So the following step-by-step guide can help you publish your first research paper. Okay. So first you pick a clear research problem. So if your area of study is food, you first and foremost find a topic or a research problem that is related to food and craft a topic out of that problem. And so you see that the problem you're identifying will be a new one the solution will be a new one that can will be a new one that is developed by you, or there's an already existing problem that you want to improve. Okay, so the next thing that can guide you once you come up with a topic is to know which data is available, what data or resources are available. Do we have uh, works which are already existing based on the problem I have identified? So let's say I want to work. I've realized that there is no material that aids in quicker wound healing. Let's say I've identified this problem. So the first question I'm asking is, what is the current, what are the current materials used in wound healing? And why are they not quickly healing the wound? So once you identify the problem, then now you can check and see what data is available, and then now you can move further doing your investigation. So after you have identified the research gap, the problem, it is your responsibility to read as many papers as possible to know what they are doing to resolve the problem. So you need to read different journal articles to know what is out there. And then once you identify the gap, you take notes of the key findings. So for each article, there's always a specific way they are resolving the current problem. So you note all of these down. So to be able to identify this research gap, again, we mentioned that you need to go read articles, journal articles. There are different places you can find these articles to read. So these are papers you can download, research papers. And there are several of them, but the most common ones that I would suggest to you are the Google Scholars, the ResearchGate, PubMed, even your university library, the universities you attend, they have um, pages that you can actually get some papers to download. So these are papers you can, these are areas you can read papers and be able to identify the gaps in the papers that you actually find. That's you find around the subject matter that you're working on. So in the research gap format, I wanted to show this, but I can come back to this because it will be the last thing I'll show. I may not even show it, but I wanted to show you you can how you can find research gap online. Like how to do you identify research gap in every paper? So you see, every good paper, every good paper, if the paper is not good, then it does not correspond with what I'm about to tell you. Every good paper, if you go to the abstract section, you should be able to find one, the introduction in the abstract, the methods in the abstract, the results in the abstract, the discussion in the abstract, the conclusion and future work. Everything that you discussed in the paper, the summary should be found in the abstract. If you don't find all this information in the abstract, the paper is not completely right. So I can pick any paper. I will be able to tell you this is the introduction of the paper. This is the method they are using. This is the result they had. This is um, the this is what they are discussing. This is the conclusion they came with, and so on. So um, once you're able to see any paper like that, then you'll be able to also pick any paper, and then in that whole space of the paper, you should be able to identify the gap, the research gap for that particular paper. Okay, so right from the abstract, you can have a fair idea what the gap is, and then you go and read extensively the whole paper and you find the research gap. Okay. Now, after you have found the gap, now you need to run some experiment by yourself and get some data. So once you run the experiment by yourself, you collect those data and analyze those data carefully. So based on what information you get from analyzing the data, then it gives you the chance to have your conclusions for that paper. So let's say you have done everything, you've gotten your data, you've gotten some all this information, you've gotten all this information. Now you want to write a paper. For research papers, there are common steps that they all follow. Some may veer away from this, but the most standard way is that you always have a title and then you have the abstract. Now, some people think that abstract comes first before you populate the introduction and others. I also beg to differ. So you are able to write a very concrete abstract when you have the whole paper ready. So because you have written everything, you'll be able to come up with a summary of the whole paper as your abstract and put it there. So mostly I leave my abstract blank, go to introduction, start with the introduction, write my literature review, go to the methodology, write the materials I use for my research, the methods I use, write everything, go to the result, paste all the results I had, the analysis I made, the graphs I plotted, put them there, go to the discussion level, I will use the result, write words on the result with English, and then that will be my discussion. Then I will give a summary, which is the conclusion. And then if there's any future works for somebody to continue my work, I leave it there. I can now come back. I have a fair idea what I'm doing. So I can now come back and go to the abstract and give a summary of everything I have done. Okay, so these are the formats in which papers are mostly written. So again, now you have the paper. Even titles. Titles can also be one of the last things after writing. You know the research gap, so you are working around it. After finishing, you can now come up with your own title. Okay, um, investigating the accelerated whatever, whatever. It's up to you to give, and you can change title as many as you want. You see, this is always a work in progress. So don't always think that whatever you put there is final. You can always change it. You can change title, you can change abstract, you can change so many things. Okay. So now you have the paper ready. You have written from abstract down to choosing the journal. Again, I mentioned that the aims and scope of the journal is very critical. So you you look for that first. After knowing that your paper correspond with the aims and the scope of that journal, you now look for the author instructions for that particular journal. Every journal has an instruction that you the author submitting the paper, you can follow those instructions before submitting your work. So you need to do all of that. Because of time, I wanted to demonstrate all of this, but there's not much time. Then you prepare all the required files. Sometimes they will ask for pictures, sometimes they ask for audio, sometimes they ask for videos. So you need to prepare your files in specific format. Maybe they will say JPEG, maybe they need them in PDF. You need to prepare the files. So the manuscript instructions will give you all of the instructions needed for the files preparation. And not every journal requires a short cover letter. So the cover letter is simply a summary of your work and why you think it will be relevant to the audience, the people going to read. So not every journal requires a cover letter. So if it's needed, you submit a summary of that. Then you submit the paper online. So you go online and then you submit the paper online. Now, after you submit the paper, it's a research paper. So as such, people who are experts in the field will be given a chance to review your work. And that's where a lot of people fear. But I mean, once you know you've done justice to the paper, you need to just relax and wait for the feedback. So reviewers, they'll revise your paper and then give you comments. When they give you comments, if you are lucky, thank God when they even give you comments. Now, some comments can be good, some can be very bad, some can be extremely bad. But with all faith, you just accept whatever response it is and move on. So when you are lucky and they ask you to do minor corrections so that they will accept your work, quickly you correct what they have asked you to do and then you resubmit the work. If it's a major correction, they would expect you to do all the major corrections and resubmit your work. Quickly, you have a chance to do that for your paper to submit it. If your paper, they realize the entirety is not correct, maybe the grammar is failing, the technicalities are not mentioned and stuff, they can deny you upright. Once the journal denies you, it means you can look for another journal and start doing the submission to another journal. Okay. And when they give you the comments, you need to respond politely because you may never know your comments, the response will be a reason why they would accept the paper or reject it. So you need to be professional in your response to the journal. If you're lucky and your paper is accepted, they will send you a proof of your work and ask you to, uh, they'll send you a copy of your work and ask you to proof, to proofread. Proofread means they want you to read through for the last time before they put it out there, they publish it. Because when they publish it, it will be difficult for them to retract to make corrections. So once you let them know, okay, I have final proof my work, so you can publish. The paper goes online based on their discretion. Then now, once the paper is published, they will let you know. You can now share among your friends. Hey, I've published a paper. My paper is out. So you can start citing me. So you begin to announce. Me, I love announcing my work, Papa. When my paper is published, the whole world will know because the effort that is put into doing it, we work silently, we celebrate massively with the outside world, you know. So some helpful tips. When you are submitting a paper, don't always think your paper is going to be accepted. Just have space. Just have space for rejection. In that case, you don't get surprised when you get rejected. So just have space for so that you are not taken by surprise and then eventually become traumatized. So expect rejection. Ask mentors for help. So that people who may be around the subject matter go and look for publications. People's emails are on them on the publication. Email them and ask for help. sometimes working together makes things easier than doing it alone. So ask mentors or ask others for help. Keep trying. The fact that you are not seeing any result yet doesn't mean you are not working. Just keep trying. You submit to the first journal is rejected. Second one is rejected. You got to keep trying because there's surely going to be a storm. But at the end of the day, you're going to be smiling and always learn to collaborate with others. And that's why Invested is there for you. We realize that working alone is a challenge. So we've created a platform where you can collaborate with people in the same research space as you so that both or all of you can come together and in pieces you can share the workload among yourselves and get your work published. So the way this presentation it is such that some of the technicalities has to be hidden because that is our secret as Nested. We give you a broader view of what you should know, and then the details of it we help you out when we actually get to give you services as a Nested community. So that's all I have to share today, unless there are any questions. I don't know if I made the 30 minutes or I was beyond.
I think you're within the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Felix, for this beautiful and detailed presentation. And I think it's an eye opener for every one of us. I wish I really had this opportunity before I published my first paper in Ghana. We didn't know so much. We you know, just
So
working.
so in Ghana you had a publication.
I was trying. I think I came here before it was published.
Wow. So you even made effort. Ah, you
Yeah.
are lucky.
Yeah. But I think that the way you've presented everything is very, very like detailed, and it's like you can follow it step
Mhm.
up the other and just get a
Mhm.
paper.
Yeah.
Uh, I think I will just share some things that I picked from your discussion that really I think that is it really stood out to me, and that is the you talked about knowing the research area of the scope of
Right.
the journal, so that you don't
Right.
publish a paper, a very good paper, and then
Mhm.
it is in a good journal, but
Mhm.
it is out of scope.
Yes. And
Yeah,
people are not seeing it to sight because
people are not seeing it to sight, and then you are wondering why you have a very good paper in a very good journal. Sometimes you pull out papers, and then it's a very good paper, but
Mhm.
I mean, you check the citation and it's like 0 or 1
Correct.
citations. So it's like, even when people look at that paper, they might even doubt to even cite that paper, because they look at how much it's been cited, how many times it's been cited, to kind of have some confidence in their paper. They
Mhm.
get it. So I think that is also an eye opener. And you're also talking about the helpful tips concerning collaborating with others. And I think that this is really, really key. Especially this comes to be handy when, let's say, when the reviewers review your paper and then they get back to you, and sometimes you have to solicit your colleagues, your friends. Inested is a very good platform, as you said, for uh, you to seek out, help. They get it. Hey, I have this paper going on. These are some of the questions, and can anybody help me? They get it. And we have groups, mini groups in the Inested platform that you can join and then post questions. You get it. And then they are experts, they are friends. Maybe you might have somebody in that same in the group working on a similar project, or know someone who works on that project, and that person can be of help and give you suggestions on how to go about such responses. They get it. So collaboration is very, very key, as you talked about. So this is really, really a beautiful presentation, and we just want to say thank you so much for this amazing presentation. So the floor is open to everyone. Maybe it's your first time you are yet to publish. Maybe you've published, but maybe you didn't really get things uh, better. I think this is an opportunity to ask all your questions, and we have an expert. This is someone who has 30 publications. It's rare to have such achievements in one's academic career lifetime. So
Something you did that is.
oh no, 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 no. I'm not near. Do you get it? So we have an expert here, and you want to you can test your question, you can ask your question. So the floor is open to receive our questions. I see Phoebe here with a question. So Phoebe, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tata. Thank you, Kinsford. So, I have a question. How do you get over um the writer's block? Sometimes you're doing the research, okay, but trying to translate it into writing becomes a problem. At least that is for me. That has been a little bit of a challenge for me. So I'm doing more math and computational stuff. So I'm always coding and trying to get my models right. How do I now translate it into writing? Because it's sometimes it is a challenge. Getting to the first part, like I'm actually preparing to write my first research paper for the first part of my work, which is almost done. And trying to get all the ideas together, it's been very difficult. So how do I do that? How do I get over that?
Is ChatGPT your friend or your relative?
I mean, sometimes I try as much as possible. Well, I use Claude. I
Okay.
prefer Claude.
Okay.
Claude, I think it thinks much better, and
Okay.
once you feed it in, it helps you from the memory. So I try to give
Okay.
it a few stuff, but then I try to do like a draft and everything, and it's still where to come in. I want to be able to come in because now they take the thing now that ATS is like a thing now the journals too are also trying to detect AI stuff. So how do you just make it yours, make it good?
So so the essence of Claude and those software stuff like ChatGPT stuff, they are not supposed to actually do the work for you. They're supposed to supplement whatever you do.
Yeah.
Okay. As they are just helping, we call them helping verbs or helping tools. So,
Hmm.
and the main reason why these things came into being is to make life easy or easier.
Okay.
So it is easy to just give them a command. They will just guide you to tell you, okay, when you put this together. Look, let me give you an instance. I didn't have to take time to create this PPT for the presentation today. The reason is I came back from Ghana very tired. Even like settling for my work was a challenge.
Mm.
So I TV told the CEO that I have not done my, as of last night, I said I have not done my presentation. Guess what? I had a helping too. I went to ChatGPT, hey, I want to present on this. He gave me a section. Then I started doing editing myself. Okay. So these things came, I'm only saying that these things came to help us to make life easier. So you don't have to depend fully on it, but it can give you the guide. One way of even writing a review paper is that when you put the command in ChatGPT, it will give you the content, like how to follow the review, maybe introduction and the introduction, what it will say, right on define wounds. The next one I say types of wound. You see, even though it's giving you define wounds, types of wound, it is not doing the work for you. It is guiding you to know the format to follow. Okay. So I believe that if you give specific command, because I don't know your subject matter, if it is around biomaterial, something I do, I can give proper suggestion. I can only say ChatGPT can give you a guide in how to go about your writing, unless otherwise.
Okay. So for instance, my work is in the center of math
Math.
and computer science and oncology.
Hmm.
So my research topic is I'm looking at how to model circulating tumor DNA for
Hmm.
treatment adaptation in patients. Okay. So having to, even though the backbone of all of this is more math, it is very clinically applicable. Like you
Okay.
can see the direct translation over there.
Hmm.
So because I'm at a cancer center and we are just like a small math department who is trying to implement what we do to help clinic translation. So sometimes it just becomes very difficult. Where do I start from? The math or the translation? Do I start from the clinic and try to bring the math in and try to make it bring it down as much as possible so that ordinary doctors can understand?
Okay. Okay, I understand. So I think you can start off with your interest first.
Okay.
The areas where you feel very comfortable with, those can come in first. Then as time goes on, you begin to jump on the more difficult aspects. So we can have very detailed conversation on this.
Gotcha.
I can also make some suggestions which may help in
Okay.
in, in you moving forward with your work.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
But I enjoy your research. You remember me, right?
Yes, I do.
So yeah. So when we had a GRASAC Congress, the first Congress, she placed first and I came second.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're already familiar with each other. So
Yes, sir. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Oh, so maybe just to chip in this,
Oh,
probably, yes, can you please hear me? Yes.
yeah.
So there are people who are very good, like with their lab work and whatever, right? And there are people who are very good when it comes to writing. So I think it's about leveraging the people around you. So if you've done the work, the lab work or the clinical work, and you think there's somebody who is able to write better than you can say, hey, come be a co-author.
Okay.
And we leverage the person's abilities because we sometimes we cannot do everything end to end. So ability to identify what your strengths and weaknesses are and how to leverage people around you
Okay.
to accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Okay.
You
I
know, so
can chip in too. I can give her a teaser. So basically, I also did computational science, but since you are math and more technical and hands-on, you'd ideally, of course, if you're like Felix said, if you want to go into deep dive, you can reach out, get a mentor, but you define what you call a research problem, right?
Mhm.
Which you already have. But you have to use a scientific method. Like, okay, what's your objective? What you're trying to solve? And how are you going to communicate that solution that you're presenting? So you have like some hypothesis, you have like some methodology. But then the biggest part of it will be the literature review because you're talking about cancer.
Mhm.
So your literature review will say, oh, these people have done based on research, this is the methods that have been used. And now we are exploring this method. And
Okay.
so this is the change that we are bringing about. So that's how your research paper would, the direction that it would like try to follow.
Okay.
In that regard, when you're doing your coding and everything, if you use like Jupyter Notebook or some other platform, there are certain methods that you would use in your code or something, which you
Mm.
write down, like in the comment section, which can be part of your research paper. So this is a teaser in like the basic, but we can't go into the details here.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, that is beautiful. I think we have Hammond Atiga with a question. So Hammond, over to you. Is Hammond there? Okay. If Hammond doesn't have a question, someone has a question. It says, do you have molecular biologists or epidemiologists on this team I can collaborate with? Is
Yes.
somebody with a background?
Yeah. So
Okay.
that is broad molecular biologist. I do have two people on Invested who have this background. So that's I
Okay.
think we'll be able
yes,
to.
to add to that, yeah.
Yes.
So I have like there are people on the platform who are doing stuff like that. So I think if you go to the connect tab, you can filter by that, right? Or you can search. If you go to Nesta, if you log in, you can search search in the search text box and it will give people with that background. That being said, currently we are working on creating groups based on research areas. So you're able to join the group that actually aligns with your background. Yeah, but right now you can search in the text box, the search box in there and find people who are doing something similar to your background.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, Ahmad. Okay. What about you?
Yeah, so my question is that if you submit a paper to reviewers and then their comments are like AI generated comments, which are not practicable, how will you go about them? Because I had experience recently. I realized that the reviewers' comments are not practicable. They are just AI generated questions.
Okay. Does anybody want to answer before I take the last shot? Because I'm still laughing. So
Like a question or a response to what he asked?
Yeah.
like response.
Yeah, a submitted paper. I think I also heard of something like that. And
Yeah.
the student initially, I think, didn't know how to, the questions were so perfect, so when a machine is asking you a question, you can just imagine, and it demanded so much from this student. And the lady was like, they tried. Then I think it occurred to them that, okay, let them put their questions into ChatGPT. Then they realized that, oh, the reviewers just took the question. I think they took the paper, put the paper inside, and then generated all these questions for them. Yeah. So I think that makes it a little bit tougher. You don't want to also completely depend on AI to answer the question. But I think that it's a current issue when it comes to publishing paper. The reviewers are using AI, and then the students also publishing are also using AI. So that's one of the challenge that is going to that's a challenge in this with regards to using AI, both for the researcher and the one reviewing the paper. So
Yeah.
we'll see how we go about it.
Yes, to add to that, I think I was reading on LinkedIn where that they are piloting a software where AI will be used to review papers, right? So what I'm saying is there's going to be something that's going to come in the future. How do you guard, I guess, how do you outsmart or how do you go about stuff like that? I think once it's about justification, are you able to justify that? Because for me, when I was publishing, there were times some of the responses from some of the reviewers were absurd, right? Some of them they don't really like the topic. They don't like what you are doing. So they will give responses that do not make sense. So for me, it's about you standing your grounds and providing evidence. And sometimes the editor sees the sense of what you are saying, the reviewer doesn't see that. So the editor will give you the go ahead. So justifying, giving evidences to whatever thing you are saying.
Okay,
Okay,
just to
and also something just before Dr. Felix
okay.
comes in. Okay, I think that the problem may not even be whether or not they use the chat GPT to ask a question. As we are talking about in the future, there's likely going to be that incidence where chat GPT or AI is going to be used to review papers. But I think that if the students or the author submit the rebuttal, I think that it will be more appropriate for them to use human to kind of assess the answers. I think that would help. Yes, you can ask the question using AI, but if the person submits a rebuttal to that, they get it. I think it must be because you're having a logical response. Do you get it? So you need someone, a human being, to really assess these rebuttals. Do you get it? Yeah. Especially some of the comments that the let's say the AI or whatever gives are impractical. Do you get it? And sometimes they are beyond what you can do in the space of time. Do you get it? So you will need a human being to look at the rebuttals and assess it in a logical way. Yeah.
Okay. So briefly, there are two things I'm looking at. One is either when you submitted your work, they put your work to ChatGPT and ChatGPT gave the response. That's one. Just thinking out loud. Number two, so for every journal, once you submit your paper, there's an editor-in-chief or somebody who is placed in charge for the review, who becomes like the one to to. So there are people who are chosen to review your work. Among them, there's always a leader. So if you think those who have reviewed your work have given you a response which is ChatGPT inclined, you can move a step. You should be sure and have your evidence. That's what somebody mentioned before. If you are sure it is ChatGPT generated, you can use that evidence and move to the main editor-in-chief and raise your concern. Perhaps based on your concern, that particular reviewer will be banned from um, reviewing other works in the same journal space or whatever. So you can move a step further from those reviewers and then look for the editor-in-chief for that particular journal and lodge your complaint. That might also help.
There's one thing as well, if I can add. So usually, if you have to think of a scientific paper too, as the scientific community will use different people with different backgrounds to investigate your research.
Mm-hmm.
You have people who don't like your research and people who like your research because they want to remove bias from the research. So if your paper, if you really have a justification, like Danny said, about what you're doing, then if your paper is really good and has covered all the basics, you should be able to provide responses to even whether the person used AI to generate the responses or ask you those questions. You should be able to give responses that meet the satisfaction of that particular person before you push it ahead if you want to take that route. So you have to think about your paper as, okay, is my paper going to meet scientific rigorous analysis from all kinds of parties? So that's the little that I want to add.
Okay. Don't forget, when we are very passionate about submission, once we submit a paper, we don't care about the scrutiny process. We just want the paper published. So we are very sentimental about responses that come. So that too can be considered. I saw Vondi raise the hand, but I don't see him anymore. So, Gisford, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think our time is almost Hamad, do you have something to say?
Oh, not really. I appreciate all the comments made so far. I just want to say thank you for organizing this talk or program. It will help us going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Phoebe, I see your hand raised up. Do you have
Yes.
anything to say?
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is just about Inested. So we can just I saw a link was shared in the chat. So we can just go there and sign up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
To join the okay. Thank you.
Or you can even use www.innested.com.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Put in your
Inested.com.
details there.
Or the
Okay.
app.
So we don't have you as a member yet.
No, sir.
Oh,
I haven't.
Phoebe,
I
you've
have
been missing in action.
exactly yes.
No.
Okay.
Okay, we'll be happy to have you join.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll be
Yeah.
happy to join this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Dr. Felix, for this detailed, comprehensive, and extensive discussion on how to publish a paper. Just in the 30 seconds, how was your experience when you first you first published your paper? How was it in 30 seconds?
Me?
Do you remember? I know it's been a long time, but do you
Oh,
remember?
you don't.
In
The
30 seconds,
question is
how
for
was
me,
that?
right?
Yeah.
So I did my whole master's without a publication.
Wow.
The reason being that I spent all my time learning how the equipment run.
Okay.
I was not in haste to publish. I didn't even know what was publication. Thank God for you guys. So I was just learning the equipment, and there was a final year student who was a PhD student. I was master's. She was doing her work, and she needed a test on one of the equipments I learned. So I ran the test for her, gave her the data, everything, and then she analyzed. I was there one day and she asked for my department's name. I mentioned it to her. Then I saw a draft, manuscript draft with my name in it. I'm like, because I ran this for you. So I started PhD first semester, and that's when the first publication, that particular collaborative work, published.
Wow.
My brother, when I
Wow.
saw my name online, for like a whole day, I've been checking online just to see whether my name was still there.
What an experience. What an
Oh my God.
experience. What an
That
experience.
that feeling, I
Wow.
can't describe that feeling.
Wow.
I can't
Wow.
describe that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Uh,
feeling.
yeah.
When,
As I speak to you, that this paper was like 20 uh it was published 2021 or 2020, right?
wow.
It has just 7 citations, but so far it has just 7. Meanwhile,
Wow.
I've published in 2025, I have 100 plus, and I'm like,
Wow.
that particular
Wow.
paper was my first, and
Absolutely.
it's been my favorite.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's something about the first time when you do anything, and I think it's a great motivation. You started your master, you finished your masters without any publication,
Yep.
and just in PhD,
Yeah.
you
So
have
PhD,
30,
no, PhD, I published 25. Then when I
25.
started working, I published about 5 more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What an inspiration. What an inspiration. So I think we are glad to have an experienced person whose academic this is exemplary, that I mean with determination and with some of the keys that he's actually shown us, we can actually take make some strides even after school. We can, because he's published 5 papers even after school, more than somebody who is in the lab working. Ish, that is great. That is great. So I want to say thank you so much to the Felix Angma for this great insight. I want to thank everybody for coming. Yeah, thank you for your questions and thank you for your time. We really appreciate you, and we would be coming back your way next week, same time, with another beautiful episode for us to discuss. So come in with your questions, and come in prepared to also to discuss with us. Thank you so much. We want to thank our CEO, Dr. Daniel Anane, for giving us this platform for us to discuss this all important subject. Thank you so much. And this is where we pause to come back next week. It's bye for now.
Phoebe doesn't want us to end, though. So
Yes, and to add, please, if you've not signed up,
Okay.
go to Nested or download our app in the App Store or Play Store in Nested and sign up.
Phoebe said, "Oma pontem, Papa." Ah,
Yeah, so we'll be
Thank
having
you.
this,
This was
like,
amazing. Thank you.
if yes, if you are here and maybe you want to contribute to writing blogs or whatever thing, or you want us to host you, we have something you think will benefit other people, please reach out to us and we will connect with you. See you.
See you.
Thanks. Bye.
And thanks, Freddie. I think we see you on the line too, Freddie. It's good to have you.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Valis. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you too.
Freddie,
Yeah.
they have a first paper out. Oh.
Yeah.
Hey.
It takes 2 weeks to write review paper.
Ish.
Sure.
If you
Charlie.
have mentorship from people like Felix, you can do it in
Ah.
1 day. Yeah, all right. Thank you so much, and I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye for now.
Bye. And next time, do we wait or until further notice?
Yeah, we
Maybe
can
just
wait.
briefly. Yeah.
Saku is left.
Saku is still here.
Osaku is here. So if Kingsford, can you remove those maybe who are
Okay, sure. We'll do that.
yeah. Thank you, Dr. Felix. Thank you. That was concise, precise. And it didn't sound like you came back from Ghana. Your accent is still
More correct feedback.
Oh no, it was concise, just on point. Yeah, not a lot of information, just what is needed.
I see
Yeah,
Daniel.
that's me.
You're the
Yeah,
one, right?
just ignore the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
Prof.
Hey, my car is preventing me from going on video. Is it am I on video?
Yeah.
Hey, your car